I'm doing great, even though every day's not fine. But still I woke up today, another day to get on my grind. Got me singing, oh, oh, oh. Effort tampil kurban oh, oh, oh. Effort tampil kurban really. I'm doing great, even though every day's not fine. But still I woke up today, another day to get on my grind. Got me singing, oh, oh, oh. Effort tampil kurban oh, oh, oh. Effort tampil kurban really.
Good evening and welcome to this episode of Between the Lines presented to you by Live Wire Sports. Tonight on the show, we have a very special guest, Mr. Leon Hunt. Leon, how you doing tonight?
Hey, good evening, good evening. Thank you for having me on the show tonight. I'm doing well.
All right, so you sound like you're excited. You sound like you're ready to go.
Hey, let me say, I've been waiting for this interview for a good while.
All right, cool. Since you're ready to go, let's jump right into it. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Leon.
Oh, man. All right, so my name is Leon Hunt. I'm from St. Croix. Let me say, it's a lot. All right, so I grew up all my life playing sports. I played baseball when I was young, just like everybody in the Virgin Islands probably started out playing baseball. I went to, where did I go to school? I went to a couple schools when I was young. So I went to Curtin Academy, and I also went to Elena. And after that, happened to go to school in the States. So I could actually finish out high school and then eventually go to college. Get into the college years later on. I represent our Virgin Islands in track and field. I ran track and field for us for about 12 years. Still hold the national record for long jump, which is 26 feet and a half. And I just love sports, man. I love the whole ordeal with sports, the ins and outs, being inside of sports, being on the outside, the advertisements of sports, being in the struggling of sports, just know how it feels to be a struggling athlete, know how it feels to be on the administration side of sports. I love all sports. I think I always tell people that I think I'm the most athletic person in the Virgin Islands. I could do all sports and challenge anybody to their sport, no matter what it may be. In the sky, on the ground, mid-air, I got you. That's a big challenge for everyone. And man, this is some of the things I'm just so passionate about with it, just in sports in general. I would sit down with you for like 5 hours just to talk about the rules of baseball or the best move in basketball, what's considered as a double dribble or what's considered a travel. Just everything international to domestic. I'm all me, man. So me in a nutshell, when people hear Leon Hunt, they say, "Oh, the sports guy." Yeah, that's me.
All right, definitely you can hear that your passion for sports speaks to your introduction. All right, let's get back into you with sports at a young age. Now, you said you played baseball as well as you ran track. What made you decide to choose track instead of baseball?
So track was something that just came about. Honestly speaking, I grew up playing baseball and I was introduced to basketball. Honestly, I seen Tim Duncan and I was like, I should probably be like that guy one of these days. So I guess I was already taller anyway. So I picked up playing basketball around middle school age, left baseball away, and then in high school, actually, I was just because I was tall and I was a jumper. The coach came to me. This was like around my sophomore year, and he was like, "Hey man, you think you want to come out to track?" I was like, "What? You want me to run?" I was like, "No, man, I good. I gonna be here playing basketball." And he said, "No, man, just come out there and try it." I said, "You know what?" Because he asked me, and the man looked real. He looked like, "Look, you could do something." I said, "All right, let me just come so you could stop talking to me." I went out there in some basketball shoes. I ain't had no track shoes. And he just said, "Yeah, I just want you to go down there and do a long jump," or at the time, actually, it was triple jump. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I was just naturally talented. And he was like, "Yeah, I see something in you." And next thing you know, that same year, I ended up going to States. And he was like, "Yeah, you got something here." And then the next year I went was I got second at state, and that's how I got recruited to go to college. So track and field was never in division, but it just ended up paying the bills and paying for college. So I kind of left basketball and just enjoy playing basketball any day. I mean, when I wake up, when I go, I love basketball, but not so much for track, but I definitely got half for track because they pay the bills. So yeah.
And one thing I love about track is definitely one of those sports that can cross over and either make you a better athlete on the field, or
Mhm.
you can realize your potential by becoming a track star. So track is definitely one of those sports that is very underrated, but very, very beneficial to all athletes. I actually think that athletes in their off season should do a lot of track training, and that would definitely make a difference for them on field.
Yeah, I think as an athlete, you never stop training. I hear some people say, yeah, well, we done this right. Look, in track is a whole year. Even when you in the off season, you keeping the core tight, you stretching, you getting people like you always working at it because to me, there's no such thing as track season because we always in. And then I mean, it's a sport for everybody because no
Right.
matter fast, slow, heavy, light, we got something for you there, and that's usually the everybody can kind of go in there and find their own place. And comparing to like a traditional team sport where you're like, well, you're not tall enough to make it here, or you can't hit the ball over here. But a track is definitely a place for you. Or everybody just get thrown in the 4x4 relay. You
A
know,
lot of a lot of people don't realize that track and field goes beyond running.
oh yeah, yeah.
There's a lot you can do when it comes to track and field, and a lot of people don't realize that. But I hope to touch on some of that today, so we can boost our track athletes here in the Virgin Islands, actually track and field athletes. So we're definitely going to get into some of that. Now I heard you speak about going to a high school down here in the Virgin Islands. Which school was that?
No. I left the Virgin Islands from middle school and went to the States. So here's this. I want to talk about this too as we get in there, because I felt as a product, no, it was like, well, I left the Virgin Islands and took my talent to the mainland. And it was well one day my brother was like, look, he probably need to come to the States in school in the mainland, and then we could probably get him to college. And it worked out well for me, but on the other end, I never got a chance to be around high school with the kids in my neighborhood that I grew up with. So I missed that out. And then who knows? I could have got all the records at some of the high school back home. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like it's kind of like hate it and love it kind of sense. But I think once you're able to just bring back what you have, then it was okay. So that was my path. That was my way. But believe me, now I'd be like, man, I wish I'd have went to school, home, you know what I mean? But hey, we here now.
Now, what state did you go to when you moved to the states?
All right, so I went to Virginia, and my brother, he was actually in Penn State. Then he moved to Virginia, to ODU, and the opportunities there because it's that area was it's a military, it's a Virginia Beach, and I realized how huge in sports. Even then, I mean, I just went for education, but sports happened to just be there, and it was so competitive there that I was like, oh. You mean there's more others of me out there? Like, is other people that's just as good or better than me there? Like, I didn't know about no AAU thing or nothing like that. Like, dude, I just used to just play ball. I just seen high school, maybe going to college and just NBA. That was just my tunnel right there. I didn't really understand it. I just knew you put the ball in the basket really good, it probably gonna pay off.
No, how was it for you? Did you get a chance to play on the AAU circuit?
So no. So the crazy thing was, I stayed. So at the high school I was at, it was a 4A school, so they had around like thousands of kids. I would say they had like 3,000 kids, right? And it was a lot of kids in the school. And the way how the structure is set up in Virginia High School League is that if you played for outside team in your season, you wasn't eligible to play. And I was like, well, I still want to play for the school. And then I said, well, why would I play for AAU team if the college is gonna come to the school to see me anyway, now this is just in my mind, right? They're gonna come to school to see me anyway, and then I could quote unquote get a scholarship there. And I can't get grades in AAU, but I could get grades in my school. So I stayed all in-house inside the school system, well, Virginia High School League, and never got a chance to play AAU. But I realized AAU was the part where you got to travel and play against all the number ones and big tournaments and everything. So I never got a chance to do it. Well, so I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll just miss out on that part. But I definitely think AAU is good because it gives you exposure to other athletes that's just as good as you are.
Now, we have a platform here where we're trying to reach student athletes in the Virgin Islands. Talk to us about your journey in being recruited to a school like Florida A&M.
All right, so here's the honest truth, right? So when I first got recruited for track and field, when I got second place for triple jump in Virginia, I actually got recruited from Virginia State. And the coach was from, Coach Young, he was from St. Martin. And his question came up to me, was like, hey man, hey, good job out there. You interested in going to school? I was like, sure. He was like, but I was like, wait, who can pay for it? He was like, we'll talk about that. So I ended up getting a scholarship, and in D2, technically at the time, you wasn't able to get full scholarship. They couldn't pay 100%. So they could pay 99%. By the time they couldn't pay 100%. So I had to get some type of loan, and then he took care of the rest. So I was like, okay. And then after that first year, he left. He resigned. And I was like, why you bring me to this school? Like, I only came to this school because like I trusted the coach, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, all right, well, I'm here now. It's cool. I'm really going to school to be your students first, and then right? So remind you, like, I was in the path of like, look, I come to school to run track. No, you come to school for education, and track is something that you do. All right. So as of course, this is stuff that I'm learning in the pathway because I didn't have that particular person to kind of lead me or just to look after, no mentor at that particular time. It just like I see it, and my friends actually turned out to be more of a coach to me because they started giving me the inside of track. I never liked track. I just literally ran down and jumped. I didn't know, had no technique. I just was good, right? So ended up leaving there after 2 years, and then I went to Florida A&M because I was like, yo, I think I'm pretty good. Like, maybe I should go Division I. Like, this is where the big dogs at. And I went there for my junior year, and it was cool. I got in. I went to regionals. I missed out nationals by like 2 people. And at that moment, I was like, man, I come here and not go to nationals. Nah. So of course, the next year I went to nationals and went to the finals. I didn't win, but that 1 year they had this guy named Makusa from Africa. This boy, he was faster, man. This dude was fast, and he could jump far. And I was like, wow, like, okay, but I still end up placing. I got like last place, so like some heck, but it was good because I made it to nationals, and everybody was. It was exciting for me. So I definitely had a good time.
No, I just love the fact of hearing that people go to HBCUs. Florida A&M is one of the top HBCUs in the country. It's actually number 2, right after North Carolina A&T. So I definitely like the fact that you went to HBCU.
This conversation with a coworker, right? And talking about HBCUs. So here's the thing: when when you're not informed or you less informed, you miss out so much in life on your heritage and so much. And let me tell you, like, everything I know today, it just happened to just been on the right path. Like I'd be like, well, how I end up here? Like, okay, well, let me learn something. And that's the part about me with knowledge, is trying to learn something good, or on the other end, you know, left and right. You gotta learn what's on the good side, what's on the bad side, and then you make your own choice, just to be real. So I was like, man, like HBCU, what does that mean? Like, okay, historical Black school, like, I'm there with my peers, but really and truly, what does that mean, right? But until I graduate, just to be honest, I really understand, like, oh, that's the school, because guess what? We couldn't get into a diverse school. They wasn't allowing us there, period. And I had to go to a museum in Missouri, Baseball Hall of Fame museum, and I watched the video. It was like 15-minute video, and I actually tear up. And this was like maybe a couple of years ago, and I was like, wow, like people really had to fight for us, like for real. Like I know this stuff now, like yeah, money fighting for, dude. They were fighting for us. They put their lives on line for us, and so many good stuff came up from the institution that I was like, oh, that's what I'm a part of. And then I really started embracing. I really was just books. I ain't no books and go to the truck, and then that was that. I really kind of tuned out everything else. But it was just like, wow, like for real, for real. So being less informed or just not being the urge of just asking questions, you could lose so much and you kind of get lost out in the world for real.
Yeah, it's definitely a way to connect to the founders and a lot of people who paved the way for you. And now you become a part of history by attending that same HBCU. So definitely, I'm definitely proud to be a graduate of a HBCU. And I definitely do preach it at all times that kids should at least give it a look. Not you don't have to choose it, but give it a look. Learn a little bit about it, gain some knowledge, even if you don't choose to go to that institution. Because at the end of the day, it's your choice. So another institution might have something better for you, and it might better help you succeed in a better way later in life. But at least give it a look and learn a little bit of information about it before you make your decision.
Yeah. One of the things about going to a HBCU is that honestly, like, you know, like I went to the seminar at Cornell and listened to a speaker, and she used the word clumping, which means you're usually around people of your type, right? And when I was there, I was like, what's this lady talking about? Like, really? She just some smart lady gotta tell us something. But she said, wait, just turn to your left and turn to your right and turn around. And you notice most of your people that you were close to was look just like you. And then I was like, wow, just even naturally, we do it automatically. So even going to HBCU, everybody that's like you. And you know, like, well, great minds think alike. And when you're there in that environment, when you're something that you're used to, you kind of thrive further because now this is just in general thought and theory, because now I'm not saying that if you go to a diverse school that you can't excel. Of course, we see people all the time, but definitely when you in the heart of like right now, we got Black Lives Matter, right? Doesn't it feel good because it's like, yo, it matters for real. So it could be, especially being at a university now, I could just imagine just being black there, like, yo, I actually, if I wasn't proud to be black, I really proud to be black now. And then you could actually expose it and not feel bad because people got to think about feeling away like, wow, I feel kind of guilty or embarrassed to be black. Like really, like, dude, you just black. This is what it is, you know. And just to embrace it right now, you could kind of understand how it feels to be on the other side of the grass, and it's a good feeling. And if you know, if I was a student right now, I tell you, man, I probably would probably be really involved, like extremely involved with all the activities that they have at the universities. So yeah.
Now, jumping in a little bit more to your track and field career, were you ever able to compete for the national team here in the Virgin Islands?
Yes, I first started competing in 2008, which happened to be after the first year, after the ending of the first season in my track at Virginia State. I went to nationals. I got fourth or fifth place, and the same coach from St. Martin, Coach Young, he was like, man, you jumped 24 and a half feet. Like, maybe you think you should try to compete for your national team. I was like, what? Once again, you less informing. I don't know none of this stuff. I just going to school, getting grades, about to get a degree, and then go up, like literally, right? So he was like, yeah, like, no, like, how do you even compete for your national team? People don't understand that. Like, what does that mean, right? So at this time, I was like, man, I don't know what's going on, man. So I just happened to call home to my aunt, Miss Atil, and she spoke to the fireman in St. Croix, Coach Foy, and he hooked us up with Mr. Wallace, which is our Track and Field Federation General Secretary. And I had to verify the information, of course, that was from back home and everything. And I had to show him my passport and, of course, the distance that I jumped, right? And it was like, oh, that's legit. No, this is you for real. Like, okay, I think you're pretty qualified to go and start our first meet, which happened to be in It was in Mexico. It was up in the hills, someplace in Mexico. I can't remember the name. It been a lot of meat, so it been a lot of meat. Can't remember, but it was in the mountains up there, and that's the first time I got to compete. July of 2012 was the first time I got a chance to compete, and then from there, it just was like, oh, I'm on a different level. Like it went from here to like here, and I was like, what? And I saw a place to look. I was like, oh, and then I start to really kind of study track and field or what the sport was or is. And yeah, man, it really that right there kind of transformed me like literally from the person I am today. It really kind of started there too because it took a whole different direction. Because I mean, imagine being a representative for your national team from your national country, right? And you being on a campus, remember we had HBCU, right? And somebody that you teammate with, they don't run for America, they don't run for Team USA.
Correct.
So now you got a little kind of animosity. Well, they got animosity against you because you like, oh, you think you're good. I was like, dude, good. I could just run them, and I don't know none of this stuff. I just do what I'm supposed to do. But it's just a simple change in the title would just turn just like it just puts that type of negative energy in people sometimes. But it did make me become better. And I mean I don't feel like I have to show them anything. Like they were my teammates, you can have some good bad teammates. It's a teammates, but y'all on the team together, and at the end of the day, you guys got pushed through straight up. You know, you don't gotta like each other, but we're on here for the same goal and we gotta get through here, and that's the mission. You know, so
all right, so can you tell us, because you have a long career in track and field, basketball and baseball. So can you tell us your favorite moment of yours as an athlete?
Okay. Favorite moment as a track and field athlete would have came in well, okay, let me see. This had to have been okay, so the first time I'd been in a arena that was I think it probably held about 100,000 people. So 100,000 people, like, well, dang, that's the whole country. Well, yeah. We were in Shenzhen, and the arena was so big, man, and it was just so huge that I couldn't even hear what my coach at the time was at the Keith Smith. He was talking to me, and the only thing I could say is like, yeah, yeah. But in reality, I didn't know I didn't know what he was saying. You know, he was just first he was too far, and it was just too loud. And I just remember just being out there was like, oh, I thought I made it. No, you really made it then, right? And this is like 2011. And then I just remember I was using this technique called dragon breath, right? It's a technique where you work on your breathing, but you increase your central nervous system so you could get pretty excited, right? So your adrenaline could kind of pump up and you get to run faster and then jump out of the world. Well, here's the problem. You don't try these things at the meet. You try this stuff at practice, right? And let me tell you, I was so amp and shaking. Like the boy, I was ready. But look, my hand was just shaking. I was like, all right, cool. So relax them, what's and everything. And that's part of my travel international to be like, well, for one, as a tall black guy with locks, I don't look like many people. So definitely when you go internationally, they think that you're exotic, right? So you just kind of use that part of yourself as you kind of learn. So I'm there and I just like, okay, get a version across the chest. They're like, yeah. And I start clapping. So, you know, track and field, you clapping everything. And let me tell you, I just gained even right now when we talking about it, I gained amped, right? So then I just remember just going straight down that runway like a bowling ball bullet. And let me tell you, I was so out of control that I shocked my own self. Now, granted, like I said, you don't try new stuff at the meet. I was out of control. I was going too fast. My body couldn't take it. But I was jumping really, really good, man. It was a really good meet. But I ended up falling my jumps, which in long jump, when you fall, it doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't count. And that's one of the things I had to learn. And I'm glad it was early more than later on. But that's when you gotta learn like how to control yourself and what really matters. I got into the whole thing, but it was a lesson learned. And I really did enjoy it. But that was one of my most memorable events, which happened to be kind of sad one because I should have won. but instead I lost, and I had to learn from that moment.
And in sports, there's always times where you can learn from failure. In life, you can learn from failure. So it's not always bad to lose, even though you want to win all the time, but you learn equally as much when you fail.
Yep, definitely.
All right, we're actually going to take a break right now, live wire fans, and we'll be back with more Between the Lines right here with Leon Hunt when we reach back.
Yes, I.
All right, welcome back to Between the Lines, presented to you by Live Wire Sports. We are still here with our guest, Mr. Leon Hunt. Leon, you still here with us?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here, live in effect.
All right, all right. So we kind of want to jump into this important role that you have. Can you tell us this role in sports that you have right now?
All right. So right now, I am the chair for our Virgin Islands Sports Commission. Um, our commission is for 4 years, so 2020 to 2024. And so in the next within these next 4 years, and this year have just flew past so quick. Anyways, but so I'm our chair, and the sports commission. What is the sports commission? Um, this term probably get thrown around so much times, or in so many different ways, right? But or people just might just not be unaware of what it actually is. So the sports commission here in the Virgin Islands, and what we do is we're pretty much the designated commission to where we quote unquote regulate the sports, recreation, leisure, and wellness programs in the Virgin Islands. Now, what does that mean? We can definitely get into that later on, because like I said, those are general terms, but it kind of goes so much farther in there. And we are, let's just say we are the governor of sports, just to make sure sports are fair in the community, on all ends, whether male, female, all ages, um, from amateur to pro, even general community. So that's who we are here, just to regulate it. And one of the things using the term of regulation is that, if you don't have something that's regulated, it just kind of go wild. And if that's kind of like what we've been doing for the last X amount of years. Even before I was born, I heard it from so many areas, but the sports commission is here. I'm the chairman for it. And I'm here just to make sure that we all have an even opportunity out there for sports and fair game.
Now, how did you become a part of the sports commission?
Well, all right. Well, so one, you got to be in. Okay, so to be a part, how I became a part of it, it came from that story from earlier, just to being the person I am, right? I was actually appointed from the governing body, but the sports commission actually has a list of 13 members that's supposed to be on it that joins to be the committee. I'll run on those lists for you right now because there's a lot of different areas that come into it that where's like, well, how did you get there and how did you get there? But two of those seats that's on there was actually appointed from the government, right? Which is my seat and another member. I'll explain to you guys. So just to go from the top to bottom and line, I'm the chairman, Leon Hunt. Hugo Hodge is our vice chairman, and he is the territorial chair for Virgin Island Horse Racing Commission. So that's two. We have Ms. Hobson, which is our general secretary. She's the president for Virgin Islands Volleyball Federation. We have our treasurer, which is Commissioner Calvin White for Sports Parks and Recreation. And we have Angel Chico, Mr. Morales, that's our president for our Olympic Committee. So you see the kind of guidelines now in sport. We have Mr. Calendar, which is our Virgin Island Department of Education designee, which is the director of Division of Sports and Athletic. We have Commissioner Joe Bushalti from Tourism. So you can see how that's coming in on there. We have also Wayne Biggs. That's the acting CEO for Virgin Island Economic Development Authority. We have Mr. Nell Hawkinson, which a part of the other two items I was telling you about that was appointed from the government, which is myself and Mr. Nels. And then we have Mr. Hilary Frederick, which is from Virgin Islands Soccer Association, that's our president. And then we have Mr. Dennis Brown from the president of Virgin Island Baseball Federation. And then we have Mr. Tony Rosario, which is our territorial chair for the Virgin Island Boxing and Wrestling Commission. And then we have Mr. Arthur Hector Sr., territorial chair for the Virgin Island Automotive Racing Commission. So all of those together from different areas developed their quote unquote commission. And that's a long history of sports and knowledge in there. Let me tell you something. It'll be rough, it's rough, but that's a lot of knowledge in there. And one of the things I start to talk about, knowledge is power, but what good is it if we don't get it out to the community and to the public, right? So yeah.
So how long have you been in the position as the chairman of the sports commission?
This was brought up in May 20th. I know the date as Zach. I actually had the passing of my grandfather around the same day that we were supposed to be in the meeting was actually the same day that he passed. I kind of missed the meeting for my grandfather. So rest in peace, Mr. Clark. And so since May, so we are in, what are we in now? Time to just fly now. We in September.
Still in September.
Right. So 6 months, 5 months. And it's been good. I'm not gonna lie. It's been really good because I'm glad to be a part of an organization that we all kind of really want, but I don't think a lot of people really want because you got to go there and put yourself out there. People want a lot of stuff, but you got to make our first step or our first move on doing something. And this team is where we're at right here because everybody in the organization happened to be a part of the team. And I think that's one of the requirements that kind of get you in there because you got to know what it feels like to be part of a team, a team player. Because like I said earlier, if you're on a team, you might not have to like each other, but you got the same goals. You got to go out and go for the goals. Mm-hmm.
Now, with you being a part of the sports commission, do you attend a lot of the events and a lot of the youth events and sports games that happen here in the Virgin Islands?
I try my best as much, and the thing is because I travel a lot, so when they do have the games, I go and I see, but a lot of things I see, I just try to Okay, so here's my thing, right? Because we're gonna go all over the place here. I like to go and enjoy the game for what the game is, right? I try not to go in there and be politics and like, you can't do this, the athletes, they should do this here. I just try and go and enjoy the evening and see the game.
Fan. Mhm.
Can't because it'll be burning me, and I'd be like, man, well, what you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like, really, what are you gonna do? And one of the things that when I came back home to the Virgin Islands is to do something literally, like I told myself, because I remember we spoke about going away and me being in college and just career. I decided to like, you know what, I have to come back home because if I don't, I'll be that same person just talking about just talking, like, oh yeah, should I do this, I should I do that, and just talking. Just it don't get you, it really don't get you too far. It gets you into a lot of meetings, but you just talk, and like, what's the action, what's going on in there, and me making that whole step to just pack up and like come home, let me tell you what, that was one of the biggest big boy shoes I had to put on because it was like it it was a moment in life that I felt that I was the only one at the time able to do it, and I just had to take one for the team. And honestly, that was the same time when I retired from track and field because I couldn't do both. This was 2018. I made that step 2 years ago to come back home. And let me tell you something, like I knew the exact day. It was the day before Labor Day. I got off plane. I was like, you really doing this? And I was like, all right, man, because I feel so much like I was given a chance and I want somebody to experience that same chance, or at least trying to have the platform so they can have many of those chances out there. And I felt that it's not there. I don't feel, I know it's not there because I see it all know. So like I said, like if we don't have it there, we're gonna end up being a lot of me's out there that's leaving and don't come back.
All right. So, what are some of the notable things that have been done by the Sports Commission this year?
All right, so here's the thing on the sports commission. So a lot of things, honestly. So all right, so COVID pays. I'm gonna use the COVID because it really do stop. That's the one thing it really stopped is contact sports, face to face, everything, right? And as we know, like once COVID hit, so we couldn't stop and we couldn't go outside. We stay at home orders. It took sports away, right? And being in the commission, I was like, you know what? We're gonna use COVID as a benefit because now we actually get to sit back. Like if COVID wasn't here and one thing, I think it would be so much all over the place. But now everybody keeps still able to get in contact with people. People will be at meetings. Like it's a lot of information to go on if COVID wasn't here. Now COVID being here, we got a chance to put a lot of mandates down. Now, ideally, we got 47 mandates, right? The bill's written 47 powers of duty for the commission. Now, that's a lot. And you're like, okay, well, what the heck? Like, what's in there? Well, let me tell you. That is, okay, just to start out, the very first one is to develop and enforce all laws, policies that govern sports and recreation of the Virgin Islands. You know how much thought have to go into that and fairness to go into that? Which itself will go in a year, right? And to be able to, now mind you, this is a volunteer position where you could always turn it down. I mean, you could get it on the board, but like most commissions are, it's volunteered. And you asking for all those members I told you about earlier, these are powerful people in the country with these positions. So guess what? I'm pretty sure they got other things to do too. So when we get into our meetings, we don't really have too much time to just say hi and how was your weekend. Like we gotta go to work because they got someplace else to go. And when you just don't want to throw things out there, because when you talk about and develop and enforce the law and policies, you're like, wait a second, you ain't gonna tell me to do A and B, and you gotta be able to put these things in fair place while you're doing it and the safety for the quote unquote for the community, right? And that's how it should be done. And guess what? Why is it done every place else and it's not done here? Why is it enforced every place else and not done here? Why is so many stuff going underneath the table here and not done any place else? And I'm not saying that, I'm saying for every organization, you're always gonna have some type of quote unquote black market, but you could try to reduce those, you know what I'm saying? Like we have police officers, they can't catch all the crime, but they could do a lot, right? So we got to enforce it. We got to start someplace, and that's the number one thing that literally on the list of what we started was trying to develop and enforce all laws and policies for sports. Now, mind you, know how much sports it is in the territory? It's a lot. And you know who had to go out there and get the research for all of those sports and entities and see who's registered and who's not registered with with the lieutenant governor office, or who's just saying, yeah, I'm gonna run a tournament here this weekend. I ain't gonna have no insurance, but I'm gonna charge your team $1,000 to come in. Like what? What kind of stuff going like that? So that kind of stuff happens, and that's not fair because the worst thing could ever happen is, of course, somebody's life or somebody get hurt, and that's
True.
first thing, And we know home is like we take sports kind of seriously, If you got money involved, I'll talk about you got money involved in it, they're gonna take it serious. It's just kids play, child's play. They're not, but let me tell you guys, like we need to enforce and lock it down to where we have the fairness and safety for our community.
Now, prior to COVID, which has really put a wrench in everything, prior to COVID, where do you think the state of sports in the Virgin Islands was?
Honestly, I thought it was wild. I still think that it is. I think that we didn't really have a direction. First of all, it's so many entities out there. It's 100,000 people, right? It's a very small number talking to the mainland. And you got I'm not saying everybody can do their thing, but the way how I seen it was we have let's just start off at Pee Wee, right? What's the way you start? You get into sports because your parents put you there, or you finally just like, oh, let me just go over here something, right? Or a coach come over there. Your first introduction is which I said it was baseball. Most people grow up playing baseball because guess what? That's our probably first popular sport in the Virgin Islands is baseball. The first introduction, everything you learn. So guess what? Baseball have a big influx of how we've grown up today because guess what? That's the first insight that you got from sport. A lot of people, but it is, and then you kind of go there and you branch out, right? So we got baseball here, and okay, that went in there, and then we got so many other organizations, and then but remember that same athlete is I always say it's only 200 athletes, right? And it's a small number, but we want them to play all the sports. Like I'm not saying that you got to designate yourself to one sport, but we got to understand, like, we got to treat this like, I would say treat it like the Russians. If you are a person, you say, yo, this person going to be good, we got to invest into this person. Like, we got to, because if we don't just say, yeah, that man was good. He was good, man. This man used to touch the rim. I used to dunk the ball, but, he want to go to college. Or he didn't even got to go, okay, we just didn't invest in him, Shaq was like, one ball, but it get glass on the court or the rims them down or whatever the case is, like those are all part of investing to it. But even as spectators, if you look in the bleachers, how many of us are actually out there?
Very good question. Not much.
Talk about sports to be real and be like, well, yeah, we could do this and do that, but is that just talk though? Like we just like, yeah, we need to do this, but who in the bleachers? So that's a community thing. But we know sports could take us far. We know, so we might not know because we might be less informed of it, and that's why we're here. But we know for sure that's the number one economic development for any country is sport tourism. It's been done in every majority of the big countries have a huge sport tourism. Guess what? We done been to all them because we go to the games. Why we gotta go to the games? Why the games can't come to us?
True. Definitely true.
To going and being an ambassador for the country. But guess what? We gotta take money and we gotta spend all that in the hotel and that flight. Anytime we leave, it takes us 2 days to travel. 2 days, how expensive that is? I realized like in travel, I was like, man, I just like home games in a sense. Let the games then come. You don't gotta tire yourself out, miss no planes, the whole stress and everything. Let them man come to us, man. We good. You get your boys and thing in the bleacher, your family there, you know what I'm saying? But sports here, we have, and we're gonna get a direction of it, but we really need to work together because let me tell you, like, it's a lot of organizations here, but really and truly, like really, if we don't work together, and this is simple because there's only 100,000 people, that's why I use the term of 200 athletes, We could all work together. We're on the same page because at the end of the day, that one person gonna probably go through about 5 or 6 different coaches, and they all part of the same organization. We all see them. These many of the people that's on the board here are part of other commissions as well because that's what we're certifying. I mean, we don't have enough numbers in coaches, but so one person have to wear 10 hats, you know. But we got to make an investment on to our athletes in sports if we really do want to go see it further. Or if we don't want it, then we just bring it here. Then we just bring it here, put on the show for everybody, and then we just receive it that way. Get it on one side or the other side. That's to be real, for sure.
Now, as the chairman of the Sports Commission, what is your views on a discontinuation of sports right now?
Well, the discontinue, I think, well, it's safety right now. So we're in a health pandemic, right? And health come first. I always say safety first, and then you go, because once again, you can't have a sporting event anyway without you having a medical person on site, period. But guess what? Just to come back again to our number one mandate was to enforce it to enforce sports that if you're gonna have an event, you need to make sure you got a medical staff on it. But we don't. But guess what? Organizations had it. Events have happened where there wasn't a medical person. And that's like, yo, really? Like, we talking about somebody like, you don't even know if this person got asthma or just somebody able to bleed or just CPR. Like, you don't know, you know? So right now, stepping back for the sports being discontinued, I think it's a good way so for us to kind of revamp, kind of come back on the other end, correct, with all our stuff in place, to get a lot of stuff in order. And let me tell you, people always say they ain't had time for stuff. But guess what? You have 5 months to get stuff together, right? But I don't think it's safe time for us right now to come back because, excuse me, this particular virus is just so unknown that I don't know how we would react to any one of us. You know what I'm saying? Especially being in school, we could go out there and the numbers rise and something may not happen, but something may happen to some people. And because we went out there, because we made that choice, we did that to that person, you know? So I think we stop until further notice. And in the meantime, you learn from the books, you get your mind sharp, and then you just be ready for that when that time come up again. So you just take a little break, and then we're good to go. Sports ain't going nowhere. It's gonna come back. But I think for us, remember, it's only, I can say it against 100,000 people. When one person gets sick, we all get sick. You know what I'm saying? We all get sick. So that's my answer on it there.
Now, do you think the government does enough to promote sports and support athletics here in the Virgin Islands?
I think they would if see, that's why the commission is in, because that's one of our job, and they haven't in the past, because then we'll be having this conversation. Because there was no structure. Like, who lives in a community with no structure? So what if we didn't have a governor? We just had the people of the Virgin Islands. And I'm not saying that we can't run ourselves, but it really can't be. You know, you always need somebody in there, because somebody's gonna say, well, somebody's gonna be too lazy to do A. Somebody's gonna be too lazy to B. If everybody do their part in a perfect world, that's okay. But if everybody not gonna do their part, they need that one person there to kind of structure out and push things in there through. So in the past, I don't think we did a good job of it, because then right now we would have been like, yeah, so when we having China come in here and to play the Japan here with us with baseball, because you know they love baseball, and they extremely love baseball. Plus they love the Mizuno, because Mizuno one of the biggest sponsors there, and we could have all our facilities here. Like, we don't even have a national stadium that's sponsored by anybody. Period. Right? So it's like, that's one of the fundamental bases. Like, from the beginning, okay, cool. Which company over here willing to sponsor us for the stadium here? Okay, but guess what? How many years we have spoke about stadium and being put down? I'm gonna pick on track and field. How many we got track out there at Dorican? IAAF world-class certified track. It's not good to practice on, because that's a competition track, but it's surely good to entertain and have events on. But guess what? It's still not even built. You know what I'm saying? Why would you spend millions of dollars on it a couple of million different times? And it's like, really, guys, like we really don't, like, we really die embarrassed and don't know what we're doing. So it's like those little small things that come to bite us in the butt at the end, and it adds up a lot. I only picking on these particular sports because I'm involved with it. I seen it. I was there. I was part of the product. I was like, yeah, we should get a Laverne Jones meet. Laverne Jones is second fastest in the 60 meters, the second fastest in the world. She still holds the record to this day. Silver medalist indoor, Laverne Jones from St. Croix, right? But wait, the second fastest, that means, it bought the number one in men's. Oh, and she's number two. Women's like, oh my goodness, like Laverne Jones from the Virgin Islands? Yeah. And we don't even have an event for her here. Okay, well, probably we don't care then. So, you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure everybody in the particular world of track and field was like, yeah, that lady there fast. She's from the small island, but they don't do anything there. Actually, I think she's from BVI. Oh no, not BVI. That's the other country that's next door that has a track over there that got washed down and they repaired it and now they back again. Oh yeah, they had meets over there. Okay, cool. So those are the things that keep us setting back because, well, there's no structure here, and we could sound like a broken record going and going, but that's why the commission is here in place because we need structure. We need structure.
Now, we spoke a little bit about sports tourism earlier, but what are some of the ways that you think we can improve sports tourism?
Well, I think here in the Virgin Islands, we got to use what we have. All right. We can't just use something we don't have. So the smartest thing we use what we have. We already say baseball is literally one of our number one sports here. In that age group in baseball, not the majors, but a small group in baseball, which the Little League World Series. Why we don't have one of those here? I'm pretty sure. Well, guess what? The families that plays in World Series, for the kid Pee Wee, those families come here to the Virgin Islands and they vacation a lot. Don't you think they'll probably like to come here and actually have a World Series game here? Not saying that they haven't. I know they did it before. That's something here need to be consistent because I grew up there, so it's a lot of kids in that age group here that still play baseball, right? Oh, we got soccer. Soccer's FIFA. That's the world sport, right? Okay, well, we've been having the games. Yes, it started. It just started. Why hasn't it been started? Okay, well, somebody got it there. They had a little structure. It's working. They got a brand new field. It's nice, So we're getting stuff started. So work with the sports that we have. We spoke about track and field. We got a lot of water sport. I spoke to sailing, and you know what they told me? The reason why they had the regatta, man, the regatta in St. Thomas, man, is one of the best places that you could ever sail. I was like, that's why. I was like, well, I know it's home, but it was like, no, I'm in the water here, the climate here, the actual course of it. It was like, it's perfect. So guess what? That's an event. I mean, that's a really great event. Then guess what? We forget about tennis. Tennis is a sport where it doesn't require too much in the facility wise, but you could still, tennis. I like to call it it's an elegant sport, right? Because people that goes to tennis gotta be able to sit there and enjoy the game, just as they go to a quote unquote basketball game. But those type of people that go to a tennis game, they spend a good amount of money. We know this. I mean, we just seen the Wimbledon. There's there why we can't have it here. In our age group, we actually have a couple of top stars athletes in tennis in a different age group, but we would never know that, but they're here. So we need to use the sports that we have already built up on those as a foundation, and then we could branch out and try things. I'm a big fan of trying things, but let's walk to what we have here first. And then go ahead and go. Let's work with the fish we have in our pan, and then go out and get it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I think. If not, then hey, we could just go out and just go shoot for the star one time. But let me tell you something. You don't just start in the championship game. You know what I'm saying? You just don't start there. Now, if you just got to be put in there, you just be ready for the Super Bowl. But hey, most of the times, it just doesn't start there. All right.
Right. I definitely agree with you. You have to start with a foundation and build from there. Now, what effect do you think sports has particularly on our community?
Well, for one thing, the crime. All right. First thing, correlation. In sports, as an athlete, You're so busy. First of all, you're so busy. You only want to go out there. Yeah, I gonna go home and eat, man. I tired. My hamstrings them sore. I can't even. I gonna check out tomorrow, man. You don't have time to get into trouble. It reduces crime in the age group. One, it teaches you lesson. It teaches you how to be a teamwork. It teaches you skills to be in an environment with other people where you actually don't have all the time. First of all, you and I as in sports, it teaches you things to where you're listening to somebody else other than your parents. In a sense, a mentor or a coach telling you something else beneficial for your life. It teaches you about winning and losing, going through those battles, being okay or not okay when dependent, but it teaches you some of those things. Okay, but I started out with crime. Crime is one of the biggest things because, for one, that's the age group that participate in sports here continuously, it keeps them off the street, right? It keeps them in sports. Also, can't play sports unless you got a 2.0. So you keep some knowledge in your brain. You ain't say you gotta be the smartest with a 4.0, but you gotta be able to get pretty decent IQ, So the correlation in there is that, okay, if you're gonna play sports, you gotta keep up the grades. If you keep up the grades, you're talking to your teachers, your administrators, the people in the community. Oh, if I keep my grades, I might happen to graduate, and I'm probably gonna get a good job because I got a diploma. Actually, well, guess what? I just got a scholarship for $1,000. Maybe I'll use it here and I can apply for something else. It creates other paths for you. Options, doors open up with sports coming. Or you could just go straight into the pro. You know what I'm saying? Like the best part about it is going from high school straight into the pro. That's one of the biggest things that we see. Remember I told you earlier, I was like, yeah, I just thought I was going to play ball and be in the NBA because I seen Tim Duncan do it. I didn't realize that one in X amount of millions of athletes who actually do try to make it in. But guess what? It gives you a drive, that fire there. They always say sports are like the best salesman. Organizations like to hire athletes because they're driven, right? I mean, I take it half and half, give them employment and they go out there and sell something. They're the best salesmen because they're so driven. They want to get that goal and they so fire up and push into it. But they're also a good team worker. And then they'll if you know people that play sports, you could see the attitude that's inside. It might be a little arrogant sometimes, but it's okay. But you'll see they like to get people together, and we are we are humans. We love the contact of people. Like, it's so much psychology that's in sports that you don't really understand it. Like, oh, I didn't realize that. Or actually, and we know like sports take you places. Being great in the Virgin Islands is amazing, but guess what? It's us against the world. Like, we start off as saying the athletes starting out young. The end goal is to be able to represent your country in the Olympic level. That's how I see it. You know what I'm saying? And then we got to build up sport. Well, we got to build the athletes up to there. But that whole ladder there is what the commissioners put in those placements. Alongside, we got other organizations, education department. They got Olympic Committee that has all our major sports in there. We got the community itself. We got sports parks and rec. We even got people who like to just put on their own little tournaments on frisbee or whatever, like little side game. All of those things add into the culture of sports that keep the safety of sports well. So I think when you look at sports, I look at opportunities and safety. It kind of go in line. And I want to say, yeah, you ain't gonna be a fool, like I said, because you gotta keep a 2.0. And for those people who are in university, well, guess what? They're already in university, and they trying to develop. Okay, they could be the best athlete they could be in university, yes, but still gaining an education. How are you gonna apply the education when you come out? Sports help you to do that because guess what? It's problem solving. Life is problem solving. Let me tell you something. Sometimes you're not gonna get the right answer. And as we always say, I learned from before. Somebody told me, well, we don't lose, we learn a lesson. So it teaches you things, but it teaches you strategically to not do something and say, I think I'm gonna choose this option. Option B is a little bit better than option 1. So yeah.
All right, so Leon, you have survived our interview portion of our show. We're actually now going to move on to the interactive segment. All right. So we have some interesting files here. Some that you might have seen before, some that you haven't seen ever in your life, or some that you probably might be embarrassed of. All right, so let's see what we have here. All we want you to do is just tell us what you were thinking at this moment or what this picture represents.
Oh yeah, FAMU. All right, picture. That was picture day. Fresh in the school. I didn't even know nobody there. And they say, yeah, you gotta take a picture. I was like, dude, I just came. I ain't even get a chance. They might just pull my hair back. And I was like, all right, cool, man. Just here. Let's go through the motion, man. But yeah, that was my FAMU incoming for track and field picture. So although I might not look as happy, I was actually happy to be there because, like, yeah, new organization, let's do it. As a rattler.
I just want you to know, and the FAMU University to know, those are horrible colors to put together. Okay?
Well, it is for that. Well, we know the orange there for the oranges, and the green is for the state, and they really do represent the state a lot. Like, I mean, everybody knows FAMU, and that's because of those colors. It kind of put us out there. Believe me, they'll call us Oompa Loompas or whatever it is. Well, you know, they'll say, "Oh yeah, that's the fam boys or the fam girls," because that's what we're known for, you know. And we don't come out there like a beast.
Moving on to the next picture. What's this?
So that's in Jacksonville. All right, so that was in Jacksonville. That was one of our. I was getting ready to. So before in the spring season, before the summer championship start, this was one of our meets that I was gearing up for. And those shades that you have, that was my first set of what you call them? Dang, so many things. Oakleys, the first set of Oakleys I ever had, and I wanted something to match my colors, right? So I had to be so extra because I mean, I have to represent to let people know who the Virgin Islands is, although I'm there to compete as well. Because, like I said, you're ambassador, and my thing always been in me to represent the Virgin Islands, no matter what the case. Even if I'm there on business, but they know, oh, you're the tall guy with lots of those yellow shades that look ugly. Yeah, that's me. And also, yes, I used to wear the shades in competition because, well, it's so bright. And most people who see me, I always probably wearing shades because my eyes them just kind of take the brightness out. But I will finish in or run through and stopping, and the guy would take my picture. I didn't even see the guy.
All right, we're gonna move on to the next picture. See what else we have here.
Oh, Puerto Rico, Mayaguez, 2010, 10 or 11, one of those years. That was when we first got Mizuno, I believe, for a sponsor. Maybe second, 2 years in. But that was a brand new set of uniform, which I was going down. That meet, I think I got like 5th or 6th place behind these guys from Cayman Islands, these twins. Carlos, the Morgan twins, the Morgan brothers. And I remember it cool because look, he there in the back. Yeah, look, the dude in the back. That's Carlos. This man beat me to my butt. That was like my last jump, and you can see my face. Like I was like, hey, I was trying to pull out one day through. But once again, it was early in the career and I was trying too hard. And I realized in track you just gotta be loose and let it flow. But when you try too hard, I mean, it's time to try hard. But in this moment, I would train too hard. I would try to pull you all the way through. And the next picture after that was actually a really good London picture because I seen it. And I was like, but I ain't win, so it was all good.
Like we said, we can learn a lot through failure. You learn that you're trying hard. So definitely, you can learn a lot from losing and from failing. So we're just glad to see that you came back from some of those failures and made some positive responses to them. So we're gonna move on to the next picture, which is, this is a good one.
2013 in Tegucigalpa, Honduras, Caribbean University Games. This was actually out of season, which I know I said earlier, we always in season, but I finished my normal season. I was recovering, and this was like another 6 weeks to 7 weeks out of training. I mean, body beats out bad, but I won. But nah, it was cool. This was one of. I don't have many goals, but this was one of the goals that I got a chance in the time of representing the Virgin Islands. And the guy that's actually for Panama, to looking at the picture to the left, he actually went on to be a good jumper later on the years after in that particular time. But that was cool, man. I remember that, and it was, I ain't gonna lie though, like I was like, man, I had to change my approach. I usually goes about 40 meters, and I had to change my approach to 20 meters because if I went 40 meters, I would have ended up pulling the hamstring. So I had to reduce the my runway, which is extremely hard. So it ended up just turning to be a very explosive jump, really quick. It was like, and that was it. And they was like, what? But still being able to do that was because I had a really good season and I still had the strength. But I did not have the stamina to go 40 meters away.
Sometimes you just have to make adjustments on the fly, and that's all you need to win in that situation. So, like we said, glad that you can see in retrospect, and even at that moment that you had to make adjustments throughout your career to make it go a little bit longer.
Definitely.
Let's see if we have any more pictures here.
Wow, NCO, National Training Center in Claremont, Orlando. That's actually one of the first times I jumped. Well, one of the first time I jumped near 26 feet, and that's a really good track. And that training center there, that's where all the professionals actually go to compete more in the spring. And you meet a lot of professionals out there. I mean, just go down the line in track and field. If you want to meet professionals and you ain't got to pay the big bucks, because that track meet is for free to go and see, you just go there and you just sign autographs all day. So inspiring, what you call the AAU athletes for track and field, they go there to compete against the professionals so they can gain some experience. Well, most of the people in there, of course, you got a requirement to get in because you got to run pretty fast because we run against pros. And this track here, I have jumped about 80% of my best rec times came from this track in NTC. And guess what? It's not even an IAA. It's not even a Mando track like we have in Udorcan.
All right, let's see what the next picture is that we have here. Load it up.
Oh, I was over there in my neighboring country, our neighboring country. I was over there in BVI, and I was there for a weekend. And guess what? Even there in business, you still got trained, right? So I was actually trained out there with Sportsman Dean, the Sportsman Greenaway, and I was over there once again, the same shades and everything out there. And that was a training day, and yeah, man, it was just me out there. Track and field is one of those sports where sometimes when you get to a certain level, sometimes you got to be disciplined to coach yourself, because it ain't all the time your coach. Remember, it's the kind of individual sport where we come together as a team. But honestly, that's what it takes to be a champ right there, because it's a lot of days I did not want to do it, man. I really didn't. I ain't gonna lie to you. And I know athletes out there, you're gonna have those days. I tell you, I don't care how much you love or hate this sport, you're gonna have those days you're like, I gotta go ahead and do this again, man. I ain't no track, it is repetition. And that's how you get. Now, I ain't gonna lie, you want to do better doing the same thing, because you can also do worse doing the same thing over too. You can learn a bad habit. So you got to make sure you're doing those things. So I actually incorporated a lot of video footage in the later part, and I guess in the middle part of training, because I didn't have another idea. You know what I mean? I had just my camera phone and I went through it. Funny story. First year in FAMU, I didn't have a jump coach. When I came into the university, the coach that was brand new there, Coach Darlene Moore, and she was like, all right, well, look, I don't have a track coach here, but I told the lady boldly, I was like, man, look, my coach from back home, Coach Charles Golphin, he'll coach me from the phone. And she was like, what? What are you talking about? She said, look here, I'm going to give you a chance. And if you don't win, you're going to lose your scholarship, right? So that whole year, the first year, junior year, I had to train myself through a phone with Coach Golphin. I used to record myself at practice every single day. I created a YouTube channel to send him so I could upload it so he could see it and critique and be on the phone an extra hour and a half after studying just to be able to get coached like that from a distance.
All right. And then we have one more picture here for you. The last should always be the best, right?
Yes, that was like I said, that was the Kazan 2013. That's Russia. That was cool. That was a good meet. We actually got a chance to run our second team of 4x1 there. The first team we had for our 4x1, we actually had back in 2010, I believe, so 3 years before, which we broke the record for us for we was at a CAC game, and our record was like 40 point it was like 40 point 39.9 or 40 point something. Somebody in the comment area is gonna correct me, but definitely it was there. That was the first team, and then we wanted to bring back our relay team because we had a new addition to the team, Eddie Lovett, which is a hurdler, and he ran for UF on the University of Florida. Fast guy, extremely fast guy. And we have Colesta Foy, we call it Fee, coming out from Akron once again, and he was a jumper. Actually, me and him used to compete against each other because I ain't gonna lie, we teammates, but me and him did the same event, and we had a lot of feuds and battles. But when we got into the sprinting, I came through. And then David Walters, everybody know David. David is the man, D-Dubs. He was on there. Definitely one of the best sprinters of Virgin. This dude on it. I'm not telling our athletes not to train, but this guy was just a freak of nature. He only got trained the man just fast. And that was our relay team out there. That was good. That was good. And we was in Russia. And let me tell you, like I told you, it wasn't many of us that looked like we're from there. So we got a lot of strange faces. Let me tell you something. In that side of the world, they kind of look at you really mean, but you just got to take it and just keep it going because that's just what you got to do.
Definitely. All right. So the pictures weren't too bad. I'm glad that you got a lot of memories and a lot of moments that you could recognize after those pictures. So the pictures you didn't do too bad on the pictures either.
Yeah. Thanks for that. You bring me down memory lane. I'm like, man. But the good thing was I will actually. Like I just knew I know I studied the game, the sport. Like I just wasn't a runner, and I started to find myself. Like sometimes it'll take a little bit more just to go out there and just lift weights and run. You gotta study it, and that was part of. When I say the reason why I got this position today, because I look at it from all aspects of it, like literally. Even be like, why are you looking at that for? Those statistics don't even make sense. Like what? Let me tell you something. In my mind here, they make sense. So definitely, that's those pictures memory lane.
All right. So we do have a couple of questions here from the viewers that they would like to ask you before we go. One of the questions is, what are the conditions of the tracks in the territory, and can any be used for international meet?
Sanction wise, no. Because one, the safety of the tracks are not up to protocol. So Udorkin, we got IAAF track surface there, right? Mm-hmm. But facility itself is not built up in place to kind of host the international games until we get that up. Now we could host our national team because that's what we did our nationals at here in-house, but internationally, it gotta be a sanctioned meet, and they're gonna look through that chart. And if you don't have a couple of X's, it's not going to work. So one in Complex and the one in Udorkin, yes, you could actually go there. They really, it's good tracks, but it's a lot more other aspects that come into it outside of just the track itself to actually have legal sanction competition.
Legal. All right, we got you. Legal. How can we use the facilities to properly train and develop our athletes to represent the Virgin Islands?
Well, for one, we need we don't even need the facility. I'm gonna tell you why. I've been to other countries and then they don't even have facilities. They get grass. It's here. We don't forget to come here first, buy into the program, and then we can start in the facility. Yes, it's some swimming, of course, we need a facility, but there's some facilities out there that we really like. We could pour and pour in, but we need to pour it in here and then come out there for us and then let's go. Because I'll be real, why we put money inside of it and get what out of it? A nice look at it, a nice, good try. Or we could just put our money into a different department, some education, or actually help mental health in our territory. You know what I'm saying? I think we could put money there and get a lot out of it, but keep on the facilities. It's a small territory. I think whatever the initial facility is for whatever sport it is, make that a hub. You know what I'm saying? We so small and we got to make that a hub, and then we all go and apply ourselves. We all do community service. We clean it up, we polish it up. They call them to when we travel to other places. I seen people like taking care of their stuff, man, and I'd be like, not just come here and they take care of it. So I said start in the heart first. Facilities is second choice. But if we got to do the facility, whatever sport it may be, it needs to be a community, that household to take care of it.
Right. We definitely want to thank you for taking your time out, Leon, to come on our show here tonight and provide us with some very valuable information from a different angle that we have not seen before. You represented the Sports Commission, and we thank you again for coming on our show tonight.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. And let me just tell you guys, like, I know this has been a tough year for everybody. It's something nobody ever experienced before. We don't even understand what's happening to us mentally, physically. We just like, but we walk in, we are going to get some things in. Honestly speaking, I really didn't want to do too much publicly what's going on because sports is still shut down and get hype up to go there and do certain. I didn't really want to do. I want to, and we are starting fresh at the beginning of the year to presenting everything to the community because I think it's a reset button psychologically. You think of New Year's, okay, I guarantee everybody say, yeah, man, 2020 gone. 2021, we here. Boom, Sports Commission hit you hard because a lot of stuff coming in brand new, but you got to be open into it. And honestly, just the safety and fairness of the games that we having for like inside of the Sports Commission, and it's here for the community. Like it's structure. We are part of structure. We already know it. And we just got to give it a chance. I actually, if you don't, it won't happen anyway. So thank you for being here. Thank you for having me, and of course the community of the Virgin Islands. That take care of everybody in a whole, because a lot of news on this list here. But hey, we take a community to if we really want sports to happen and not talk about it. So we'll see. That's a shot to everybody because they're literally people know me. They're working on it for sure hard. But we got a team behind us, and we're gonna present to the community, and they're gonna enjoy it. And we're gonna do it. We're gonna make us versus the world, Virgin Islands versus the world again.
All right. Once again, thank you for coming out. We definitely appreciate you, and good luck on your journey as a leader in this Virgin Islands for sports.
Yep, and all my rattlers out there continue to strike again.
We'll let that one slide. All right, Live fans, thanks for tuning in tonight. We will be back next week with a very, very informative and special episode. So we need all student athletes, parents, coaches, school administrators, and counselors to tune in next Tuesday as we present something special for our student athletes, okay? Stay tuned for that flyer. It should be posted shortly, and we will be back here next week at 7 p.m. for more Between the Lines. Thank you guys for watching.
I'm doing great, even though every day's not fine. But still I woke up today, another day to get on my grind. Got me singing, whoa, whoa. Effort tampil kurban ready. Whoa, whoa. Effort tampil kurban ready.